Welcome to the Refrigeration Mentor podcast and CO2 Mondays with Trevor. I'm your host, Trevor Matthews. And once again, we've been diving in deep into CO2 week over week over the last few months. And I'm always lucky and blessed to have amazing guests come onto the show. And why a lot of these guests come on the show is because I go out and I reach out to them, I go meet them. I actually met the Alessandro, who's coming on the show tonight at Chilventa at an expedition in Germany. This is what's so important about our industry is getting out to these events and meeting new people, meeting the experts in the industry, building those relationships, growing your network, because it's so important to your growth and your knowledge, and you never know who you're going to meet. And I'm excited about this conversation today because Alessandro Franchin, he's from SCM Frigo, and this is a huge CO2 manufacturer. They are shipping equipment around the world. I've been on their website here, and there's more stuff than I've seen before. That every application. I'm so excited to dive into this conversation. Alessandro, welcome to CO2 Mondays. How you doing?
Thank you. Thanks to invite me to this meeting, and I'm happy and let's say and excited as well to share, let's say, my knowledge and SCM part of course, SCM knowledge. Uh, it is great to be here with you. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Why don't you do an introduction of yourself? How you got into refrigeration? How you became now the sales director for SCM Frigo, and just how you got into CO2?
But I have to say that I started to work with CO2 at the end of my university during my master graduation. I have studied here in the University of Padova in the mechanical engineer, and I had a master in refrigeration. So during the last period of my university, I did, a thesis, and I selected a thesis that the title was more or less the design and the construction of a CO2 booster system. Okay, and this was 2005. So it was really probably one of the first, if not the first, probably, but one of the first theses in which, let's say, we started to discuss about booster application and transcritical system. So at that time, and let's say that my history a little bit also cross at that time SCM Frigo history, because I was developing my thesis in a company here in Padua, and a colleague of me was developing his thesis in SCM Frigo, always okay, developing his thesis in another CO2 transcritical system. Then I discovered it just, let's say, during the thesis, and then of course later on when I joined SCM Frigo in 2015. I was a little bit jealous of him because it was a little bit in advance comparing to where I was, because SCM Frigo was already developing, okay, with an important supplier, okay, some firmware to manage the high pressure valve. Okay, so yeah, so it's a long journey, let's say, starting very soon with CO2, with a technical background, innovation, let's say, also innovation oriented. Of course, at that time, I cannot think that this become, let's say, my job life motive, let's say, let's call like that. So, and of course, let's say at that time, my dream should be to sell the car, not only one component, but the entire system. So today it's what I am doing, let's say, in SCM Frigo, because I am selling, let's say, CO2 booster system in several applications. Maybe later on we will go a little bit through the different application. And still, let's say, I have this passion for innovation. So I really like so much, let's say, the technology, the new things. And I met SCM Frigo, in which, let's say, these things become a reality for me, because SCM Frigo is really innovation oriented, and thanks also to the fact that we have a technical director that is one of the, in my opinion, one of the most brilliant engineer, let's say, in the panorama. So he is more or less 20 years old in the company. He is the one that start to follow from the beginning, okay, the development of CO2 system in SCM Frigo, and let's say in general, let's say for in Europe and the world, okay. Still, we have this passion for innovation, and we are still following the high-tech technology. We are studying in cooperation, let's say, also with the most important supplier, new things. And the nice things that I am proud of course, okay, is that the supplier is looking for SCM as partner, okay, to test new technology. And starting, let's say, from 2005, when we started to design booster system with the new components, valve, electronic, okay, up to now with other new technology that, let's say, quickly were, in any case, implemented in the booster configuration. If I look to my thesis, several things that arrive in the years after was already in my thesis.
Wow.
But at that time, there was no possibility to manage these things, because there was a missing of technology, electronics, of course, and in generally speaking, know-how. Okay, so, but let's say quickly, because if we look to the picture, at the end, it's 19 years, more or less. Okay, and as you probably, many of us probably looking into the history, we divide the world, Europe in the beginning, in different areas with different technology and evolution. So the first part, let's say the more cold part, okay, in which the simple flash gas bypass system was already, let's say, more efficient than a standard HFC. Then we move to a second generation, so to make the system efficient as well in warm climates. And the third generation of booster, with which theoretically we are able, let's say, to be efficient everywhere, okay, in the old climate, basically. Okay, so this was, let's say, part of this development was already, let's say, in my thesis, okay, my study, and during these years of career in the refrigeration, I saw it was a real pleasure, okay, to see how this technology were introduced and developed and consolidated as well, okay, in the market. So this was, let's say, very nice, and I still remember this period as one of my best period. Let's say I was surprised, let's say, in any case, of course, later on to find CO2 so much present as it is today. Okay, it was nice and very nice. Also, let's say from SCM Frigo, it was probably an unexpected, development, because when we make some investment, of course, let's say, and when you make some investment, you cannot, let's say, imagine then after 10 years, 15 years today, okay, it represents, okay, 87, 88% of our current turnover. Okay, so it was a real good choice. Looking now, this investment was very, very good, very nice, and payback was good, let's say, of course.
That is amazing to hear, because like you did the thesis, the technology wasn't here, and now you start to see it evolve and then start to come. That must feel pretty cool, and just to see it, because the technology continues to evolve for CO2, which I'm super excited about, because I see even on right now, even since I started 7 years ago learning about CO2, it's just continuing to evolve, which is so cool. And I really believe that it's going to grow even more. What's really cool about your company that you work for? I didn't hear about them for until about 3 or 4 years ago. They're not really big in North America, but over the last couple of years, especially after I met you guys in at Chelvent, I started seeing more and more. And I talk to people globally, like many people that I train in Australia, they're working on your CO2 equipment there. Why don't we talk about some of the global applications you have for CO2? Like what parts of the world do you have them in right now?
Okay, yeah, no, so let me say that we were one of the first, let's say, to start with CO2. Okay, then let's say in 2008 we start, let's say, to have a good production, okay, for supermarket retail business. Okay, in 2009 we started with industrialization, okay, of booster system. We have a wide product portfolio, and I think SCM Frigo is one of the company, let's say, with a very large and wide product portfolio, all related to CO2, starting from small CO2 condensing unit, okay, starting from the 600 watt, let's say, this is the minimum capacity, okay, so very small unit. All units, let's say, that can be applied then in the retail business, from a convenience store up to the hypermarket, supermarket, okay. And then we move, let's say, in the semi-industrial and industrial sector, because today, as you remember probably, okay, in Chelvent we have introduced a industrial CO2 line, okay, with which we are able to have up to 1.5 megawatt in refrigeration in medium temperature application. And on top of that, okay, we have also, let's say, CO2 pumping station, okay, and that is another application that we are following from many years, okay, because the first CO2 pumping station, in any case, we started to probably to supply in the market already in 2011, okay, or maybe sooner, okay, apply, let's say, we connected to subcritical system, okay. So later on, let's say, with the low temperature booster, we apply the same concept, let's say, to a complete CO2 package, okay. So we have a very wide product portfolio, okay. And the other good thing that I think, let's say, SCM is one of the top player, okay, one of the top player, okay, is the flexibility, okay, because in SCM Frigo we still maintain a very high grade of flexibility and customization, okay, because let's say we like to follow and to work with the customer in their comfort zone. So that, let's say, in any case, is what also like, okay? So acting like a consultant, let's say, design with them, let's say, the best cost-effective solution, okay, according to the application, okay, and the experience that we are always ready to share with a customer, okay? Like this concept, okay, we apply all over the world today, okay? Thanks to the fact that, as you probably remember or you know, okay, SCM Frigo was acquired by a big group, okay, by RF, with which, okay, we enlarge our network, because SCM Frigo was a local company, okay, when it was born, okay. Then of course we grow in the Europe, but let's say thanks to the Bayer Ref, we were able to meet location in which before was a little bit difficult. In Bayer Ref, okay, there is a great commitment to follow the green concept. So it is the company, the group, the headquarter believe in this product, in this philosophy, okay, and ask to the network, okay, to push for this solution. So thanks to that, okay, we have in the network, we have a team of persons that are working closely, very close with myself, but let's say with the team in SCM Frigo to develop the market and the knowledge. Okay. And that's the reason probably for which, let's say, in the latest period, okay, we grow a lot, let's say, in the South America and let's say in Australia, okay, Australia, New Zealand, okay, in many countries, of course, okay. So we are investing, okay, as SCM Frigo, but also let's say the Bayer Group, okay, is supporting us with investment in the network, okay, to develop this concept. Related to that, okay, and to the training and to grow in any case in the business, as we discussed, okay, is necessary to develop knowledge on CO2, okay, because as we said before, okay, in any case, CO2 is a new matter, okay, is relatively new, okay. In Europe, we can say that it's already, let's say, something consolidated, even if there are several contractors that in any case are starting to work with CO2 in the latest years, let's say 2-3 years, okay. In other countries, okay, there are a lot to do. There are a lot to do. So for this reason, okay, we have fixed with the group, okay, a program to have local academy on the different country, okay. So we have this program, let's say, is called Bayer F Academy, okay, in which, let's say, we supply, okay, the same training course that is possible to have in Italy, okay. So again, my technical director is sharing this presentation and knowledge with, let's call the teachers of the other academy, okay? And we are sharing this knowledge with all the person that would like, let's say, to attend the training course. I was in August in Australia, and I had the possibility to see the academy that was set up in Australia, and also there it was very nice, and I think is in any case one of the secret of the success. Okay, so also because generally speaking, okay, and here I don't speak only for SCM Frigo, but let's say also for supplier, but also for competitor. Okay, if something fail on CO2, okay, the risk is that everybody say it's a CO2 problem. Okay, so all of us, okay, that are committed in any case to spread out, let's say, the knowledge, okay, we can enter in difficulty. Okay, so it's very important that we are able to support, okay, the customer, our partner, because I like, let's say, to call a partner, okay, the contractor, and for this reason we are very committed, let's say, to share knowledge and introduce this concept of academy, okay, all around the world, okay, where it is not possible if we have some partner, local partner, okay, we try to supply a small laboratory, okay, a small testing unit, as we did in Japan. Okay, so in Japan, we supply a small system, and of course, this was unfortunately during COVID situation. Okay, so we had to set up, let's say, a new procedure, training online with Zoom, Meet, whatever it is, Teams, and so on. Okay, but at the end we were able, let's say, also to fine tune, let's say, this kind of solution. Yeah, and let's say this is what we are working on. Also, of course, in SCM Frigo is where everything was born. Okay, it was the first. Okay, but we are trying to share and to export. Okay, the way to do also to the other to our network. And so that's very important, I think, and is the secret of the possible success of CO2 and SCM Frigo. So I return back to the comfort zone, okay, so acting like a consultant, give the confidence to the customer, okay, to have somebody that can assist, support, fine tune, help also on the fine tuning, and be present on the first startup, because in any case, okay, what we would like, okay, is that the contractor become, let's say, in any case, independent. Okay, so we don't want, let's say, to create business around the startup or assistance. Let's say we want to spread out knowledge, okay, and make the customer, let's say, no, let's say happy, okay, to work with CO2 and confident to work with CO2 and our solution.
Yeah.
So
this is what I love about CO2 and all the people I've been meeting globally. They want to see it excel and be successful. So even though you're competition with a lot of other CO2 manufacturers, when I talk to all of them, they talk the same way. They're like, we want to help grow the knowledge of the industry. So even though you're competition, the more you can help the industry grow, it helps all of the CO2 manufacturers, right? Get better, get people that come out with more experience, work on the equipment, because there's lots of CO2 equipment out there that's going to continue to grow. And I love that you guys are offering lots of different types of training and offer an academy. So you have the main facility would be in Italy, correct? At your main factory?
yeah,
And then you have other academies globally. So you got one in Australia. Where's the
yeah,
other?
one in Australia, one is in Sweden, okay, One is in France, one is in, we are going to set up the new one in Netherlands. We have one in South Africa.
Wow.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear that you're
So
doing this, working with customers to grow the knowledge in that country, because I really believe we need hundreds of more educators and trainers globally to really help the refrigeration industry. So it's so cool to hear that you guys are doing this to help your customers out. What is it like now that you have these new technologies? You're working with customers; they're starting to buy your products or see your products. What do you find is the biggest hindrance for CO2 and the uptake? Do you think it is the training? Is it the education? Is the confidence level? What is the thing that is, it's growing fast, but what do you think some of the customers are weary of CO2? Is it that training aspect or?
I think here we have probably also to divide, okay, the world in different area, okay,
Yeah,
because of course in the region in which the the the, um, the CO2 is still, let's say, not a matter that is not known,
yeah,
okay, of course the knowledge is the barrier,
yeah,
okay. And when somebody starts to think about, you know, the 100 bar in operation in transcritical, okay, the first thing is 100 bar. So, and what is going on, how we have to manage, you know, and so the first is to be, let's say, yeah, to have a fear, let's say, on that, and to think about, no, it's not the right solution, cannot be, you know, okay, something that in any case we live here in Europe, right? Because when I attended the first, let's say, I think EKK, it was not still, let's say, Cilventa, okay, and there was the first solution, let's say, or I think it was 2008, 2009, something like that, okay. So, you know, there was several persons that say, CO2, no, it cannot be the right solution. And then 4 years later, they were selling CO2, no?
yeah,
So you see how the things change when you start to know, okay, something that before you didn't know, okay. Several customers that start to work with a cascade system, okay, they start to see that, oh, so it looks like it's working good, you know, okay. So let's try now with a transcritical system, okay? When they start with the transcritical system, okay, later on, they never come back to the cascade. So let's say if the history, if we can, let's say, learn from the history, okay, I think this is something that we can share, okay, the experience made in Europe with the refrigeration on CO2, speaking about CO2, okay, is something that, okay, we can take with us, okay, and bring on the other country, okay, and say, these are questions that we had in 2010, okay?
yeah,
And nobody today is thinking, okay, is CO2 the right solution? Is efficient as well as HFC? Nobody is asking today, okay? So they said, okay, so what's the best setup?
yeah,
Okay, can you support us with this solution? Is possible to build everything in one rack? Because, you know, CO2 is very flexible. Okay, so thanks to the fact that we have booster configuration, okay, we can have, of course, one low temperature and one medium temperature. But if I have to look to SCM experience, we have a unit that has two low temperature line, different, okay, minus 45, let's say, spiral freezer, okay, minus 30 for the ice cream, for example, okay, then we have a line at minus 8, okay, and then an air conditioning load,
yeah,
okay, so all integrated. Okay, so it's very flexible. Okay, so customer mainly ask if I have to look to Europe, okay, to find the best solution. Okay, if I have to see other region, okay, they are still, of course, okay, we have to solve and to reply to the doubt, okay, but they are still asking, okay, the question that we received in 2010, okay, is it the right solution? Okay, why this? Why that? Okay, so knowledge, of course, let's say, is, in my opinion, is in any case the basis. Okay, the basis to reply to all of these questions. Okay, from the who start to approach CO2. Okay, and let's say also with some person that in any case, okay, work on CO2 and need a different time of growth. Okay, so it's another step forward, okay, for this kind of contractor that would like to know more about. Okay, so first was how to do refrigeration with CO2. Okay, now, okay, or in Europe, how to do better. Okay, which is the correct setup, okay, to achieve more than this. Okay, the fine tuning is still, let's say, is the probably the right thing, let's say, that we are now managing with contractor that have, let's say, that are in the business, okay, with the longest experience. Ecco. But it's always a matter of knowledge.
Yeah, I totally
Of
agree with
course.
that, because the more you learn, everything, I keep talking a lot of, everything's learnable in our industry. It's refrigeration. It just takes time. You know what I mean? And you need a good foundation of refrigeration before you get into CO2. You got to understand what refrigeration is, and then you can work on any refrigeration. It could be residential AC all the way to industrial, but you need that foundation. And it's so true. Now, I even see the same types of questions too. 2010 question, I wasn't even in CO2 at that point, but those 2010 questions are different than today, because there's so many new solutions that you can put a CO2 anywhere on the planet, you know. But what are those extra things that you need, that in the very cold climate versus a very warm climate, if it has high humidity, if it doesn't have high humidity, which is really good. And that's why you really want to work with your customers. I love all that. So on your website, you have CO2 condensing units, you have transcritical racks, you have CO2 chillers, you have CO2 pumping stations, you have CO2 cascade stations, you have a lot of CO2 equipment. How
Yeah.
many pieces of CO2 equipment do you believe you guys have out in the industry? Do you have a number close to how many pieces of equipment, or how
Let's
many
say
do you?
that we stop to count when we reach 7,500.
Wow.
Okay, and this was probably 2-3 years ago. Okay,
Wow.
so we are not, let's say, counting anymore. Okay, the number of
Yeah.
installation on CO2, because it become a little bit
Yeah.
difficult now. Let's say to count
Yeah.
all of them.
That's
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah. So, you know, the other things that change quickly, the other things connected to the CO2 is that the technology change quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's necessary. And the other important things is that is not anymore only mechanical. So electronic is very important, okay, as let's say today in the automotive. Okay, so if we look at the 20 years old car, and we look at the new car, okay, you have, if you have some problem with the car, now the first thing is to call a electronic engineer that connect the personal computer to
Yeah.
the board and look for the alarm.
Yeah.
Okay, this make, let's say, okay, of course, okay, electronic is necessary to make the things even more efficient. Okay, as with the car. Okay, as with the car. Okay, of course we need let's call a new generation of engineer, a new generation, or let's say an updating of the service engineer in the field. Okay, and it's a nice task to follow, especially let's say if you were not usual to work with electronics in the past. Okay, let's say SCM Frigo has a very good experience. Okay, has a good experience because we have all this installation running. Okay, and we have several applications in all the product that you said. Okay, so from the subcritical system to condensing unit to industrial with a pumping station, booster, only low temperature. Okay, and that's probably the reason in any case for which again supplier are looking as SCM as a tester. Okay, for components. Okay, and this is very, so it's another thing that in any case it's very important for us. Okay, so to be called, okay, by supplier to test new technology, and this will allow us, let's say, to be always one of the first, let's say, to test, to create knowledge, internal knowledge. Okay, because we have a good team of engineer, okay, together with the technical director, so he's not alone, let's say. We have a good team of R&D, and then of course also our sales team. Okay, they have a technical background. Okay, and they have somebody has a technical background because they stay in the refrigeration from many years, and they grow with the refrigeration. Okay, somebody else, okay, the latest person that we are hiring, let's say, or join SCM Frigo in any case, is a mechanical engineer with master in refrigeration. Okay, that's also important for us to be in contact with our university in Padova, because it's one of the top university, let's say, for refrigeration. We are in connection also with the DTI, the Danish Technical Institute in Denmark. Okay, because we are. It's important. It's important to stay updated and to continue, let's say, to stay on the topic. Because CO2 is moving, let's say, the development is moving quickly, and the technology is following, let's say, this channel. So CO2 is today a solution well tested in the market, consolidated, let me say. Okay.
Yeah, so I have a question for you, because I get this a lot, and I'm getting it more and more. Is that CO2 condensing units or gas cooler units? Where do you guys see that? Because I see that you're building them now, and I get a lot of people reaching out like, can I get a 1 ton or a half a kilowatt unit? You know, what sizes are they? Is it coming? Because I'm talking to manufacturers, and they already got them designed, built, and even you have them built. You know what I mean? So where do you see in the next 2, 3, 5 years gas cooler or CO2 condensing units playing a role?
We are speaking about the small
Yeah,
unit.
so yeah, for like mini markets or smaller store
So,
applications.
you know, condensing unit is one of, let's say, of the most important product, in my opinion, on the next 3-5 years. Okay, 3-5 years, because this, in any case, will allow, okay, to several small contractor, okay, to approach CO2, and because there are several unit all around the world, okay, or several small business that are connected with refrigeration, small battery, small, let's say, supermarket, mini market, petrol station, and so on, that are connected to this small capacity range. And usually, okay, who made the installation is not a big contractor, okay? Is usually a small company, probably 2-3 engineer maximum, okay? And you know, they're so being small, probably they have some difficulty in any case to stay updated, okay? So it's very important, okay, that this condensing unit is really, let's say, as much as possible a black box, okay, for the contractor, okay? So the unit has really to be go out from the premises already fine-tuned, okay? And there should be, okay, very small steps that the contractor has to do to fine-tune and to make the things running properly, okay? This will allow, okay, to our business, okay, to grow fast, okay, because as I told you, there are several applications with this small capacity that they are in need to have, let's say, a eco-friendly solution, okay? So we need to reach this kind of contractors. We need to reach them, let's say, more careful than, let's say, the big contractors, okay? Because the level of knowledge is different, and probably the step that they have to do to become a skilled contractor to work with CO2 is a little bit higher the step, okay, than what has to be done by a normal, let's say, or a great contractor, let's say, okay. But we have, let's say, if I look to SCM Frigo, okay, in the latest 5 years, okay, we spend 5-6 years, okay, we spend a lot of energy in a good fine-tuning of the unit and the setup of the electronic, and also, let's say, in terms of user manual, okay, we really try to fix step by step, okay, all the things that are connected to the fine-tuning a proper operation, okay, of this small condensing unit.
Yeah.
So
do you guys use a lot of different manufacturers? So if a customer just wants the Danfoss or Carell or whoever, Dixell, you guys will supply whatever they need?
yeah, also let's say yes, okay. So due to the fact that you know, our flexibility, okay, open many windows, let's say, and of course, okay, to add to today we have in our possible management, okay, we have different solutions, okay. We have different solutions, so I don't want, let's say, to speak more than one or the other, okay? But let's say, of course, Danfoss solution, current solution. We have RDM for the UK market, okay? Because it's let's say it was in any case mandatory to work with some customer. We have Wurm, okay? In Germany, it's key to enter in the German market. We have Dixell, okay? So we are very, let's say, we are open, let's say, to work with different supplier, okay? Again, growing together, okay? Because that's the key. Also in this in this sense, okay? We have to work together because, you know, sometimes due to the fact that in any case we start soon to work with CO2, okay, sometime we have a little bit to address, okay, the development on the technical specs of the controller,
Yeah.
let's say. But it's a mutual cooperation. In any case, it's always a mutual cooperation because again, okay, saying that we are selected from the supplier,
Yeah.
okay, to test a component, it means that the supplier believe on the feedback that we can supply to them.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
yeah, so
Yeah,
as well. So I mean, we are flexible. We are working with many supplier. Okay, we are not close to anyone. Okay, we are going. We discussed in Silventa, if you remember, we are going to introduce during EuroShop a smart booster with the Copeland digital compressor. Okay. And this is a package, let's say, supply by Emerson, okay, with which, let's say, we cooperate, okay, to design or to, let's say, fine tune, okay, that's the right word, okay, to fine tune the products, okay, generally speaking, okay, the product. So again, we fold, let's say, we fold in the concept innovation oriented. Okay, so when something reach our ears in SCM, let's say technical director, or we are always curious, let's say, to investigate and understand if this can be something that in the future, okay, can be a good gun, let's say, to use, or that can make, let's say, a new step on the development of CO2.
Yeah, no, and
Okay,
I
so
love that. I can just see the growth and all the different equipment you have. You guys have to have a huge and really good R&D team that's thinking outside the box, because you wouldn't have this many type of systems or options for your organizations. So you said that you have lots of equipment throughout Europe, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. Is there any plans on making equipment available in North America?
it's a little bit sooner, let's say, to
Yeah.
discuss about that. But let's say at the end of last year, beginning of this year, okay, we have approached the UL certification.
Awesome.
Okay, so we are, let's say, looking, okay, to have some UL certification to be able to export, okay, some units, okay, and see, the plan, let's say, is to start with condensing units, okay, and in the future, in my opinion, okay. We will have something. Okay, it's a little bit soon
Yeah.
now to discuss, but as I told you, this is not a secret. Okay, so we are approaching UL certification.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
because we have some interest from some possible customer.
Yeah.
Okay. To enter in the US market. Okay, so
Well, because it's global. Your customers are global now. It's not like it used to be. So, and what I see from a lot of European and other CO2 manufacturers, that they would love to come to North America, but there is a lot of loopholes. There's a lot of UL and CSA, and there's a lot of stuff that you go through. It's not like you can just do it overnight. So it's a process. So it's good to hear that you guys are starting the conversations. I love that, because I believe the more CO2 equipment we have in more locations is going to really help a few things: getting more CO2 equipment out there, but getting the knowledge out there. Because when there's more equipment, there's more people with the knowledge, and more knowledge being able to be shared with the industry. And I think that's really what it is how do we can get more people being effective. And I like what you said earlier. Technicians need to understand electronics. You need to have a computer. We've seen it for years. I was using a computer 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I used to dial into stores and on a computer to look at the rack and to see what's going on. So this is not new. Electronics is not new. It's just it's advancing,
Yes.
you know. And we see it in VRF and VRV systems. You got to hook up with a computer even there, and that's So this is the evolution of refrigeration.
Yeah.
Embrace it. I love it. I love when I can see everything that's going on. I can see all the pressures, temperatures, how everything's working. Because as a technician, I can see what's happening, and I can be like, this doesn't look right. You know what I mean? So it makes you better as a technician, I believe, or an engineer.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I totally agree, let's say, with you. And it's also what I saw, let's say, in my career, because when I start, let's say, after my thesis, okay, I worked, let's say, in a company, let's say, supplying electronic components,
I
okay,
work for them
for
too.
supermarket. Sorry.
I work for them too, to Excel.
Yeah, and before the Excel was Carel,
Okay,
okay.
cool.
So
Lots of
and due to
experience on
the,
electronics you have. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So and due to the fact that I had this master, okay, graduation in the CO2, let's say I was following, okay, I become, let's say, a CO2 specialist, let's say,
Yeah.
okay. So I had opportunity, let's say, to go all around Europe, okay, but also abroad of Europe, okay, to follow, let's say, cascade application. First, development also different technology, because at that time there was also thermostatic expansion valve versus the electronic expansion valve. Okay, so and I was usual, okay, to go in the installation and connecting with the computer, okay, to the monitoring system, and looking what's going on, okay, making some different setup, okay. So again, it's in my opinion, it's nice to say, but it's a natural evolution.
Yeah.
It's a natural evolution also for the technician. Okay, so I think we will have more and more service engineer that will be able, let's say, to use a personal computer on site to understand what is going on, what the problem can be, what to do to make the system more efficient. Of course, okay, it will be always necessary in any case to put some hands, okay, on the installation, because of course at the end, okay, so we are speaking about components, electronic components, but also mechanical components,
Yeah.
okay, piping, valves, so all this kind of stuff, okay, but in my opinion is a natural evolution, okay, as it was again in the automotive. Okay,
Yeah.
so refrigeration, in my opinion, the example, in my opinion, what's happened in the automotive is very, mm, very good, okay, for what is going on also on the CO2.
Yeah. And I
On
totally agree. I
refrigeration.
love this conversation, Alessandro. Like, I love hearing and seeing more manufacturers just like you continuing to grow, people passionate just like yourself. How can people get a hold of you, get a hold of SCM Frigo if they want to learn more about your products, learn more about where you're located and the things that they can find out about?
But in the website, okay, you can reach SCM Frigo from the website. It's possible to, let's say, to reach us by email. Inside the website, okay, to have an overview of the academy, okay, and the scheduling of the next training in Italy. Okay, so we had some Americans, United States person that came, okay, to have a training, okay, on in SCM Frigo. Okay, so website is for sure, let's say, the first door, okay, to enter in contact with us, okay. There you can find several information, also several, let's say, case study. Okay, so where you can probably look, okay, what we did. Okay, so it's not only pumping station. There are big unit, small unit, application, chiller application. Okay, so battery, spiral freezer. Okay, so you can a little bit have an overview of all, let's say, the application that we can follow. And then, so I mean, yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
let's say I have a very good colleague, okay, that will address, let's say, to the different salesperson according to the area, okay, the inquiry. So because, let's say, we have a setup in SCM Frigo where sales director, okay, we have 3 sales directors that are following region. So we are very focused, each one of us, okay, is very focused on their development, area development, of course, okay, and we can really stay in, as much as possible in contact with the development going on these areas, okay. I'm the one that is following more or less, let's say, the rest of the world, because I'm in charge to follow the Iberia market, Nordics, Benelux area, Asia Pacific, and then I have a spare customer,
Big area.
Japan, Israel. Okay, so
Awesome. I
but
love it.
let's say,
I love it. So anyway, and everyone, go to scmfrigo.com. That's their website. You can go into frigo.com/en/CO2-training-center. And I'm just looking at your schedule now. Every month you guys are doing trainings. That's amazing. Every month,
yeah,
pretty much, except August, because August, no
yeah,
training happening
yeah,
for
yeah.
me in
So
August. But this
let,
is
let's let's say on this topic, okay, we can also fine tune the training, okay,
awesome.
because we have a base training, okay, that is, let's say, very simple, okay, but we go through the different topics. So what is CO2, why CO2, triple point, the critical point, okay, all the safety things connected, okay, to regulation as well, okay, different the different system, booster, parallel compressor, ejector, okay, so it's very, let's say, basic, but give a complete overview, okay. But we can set up tailor-made training, okay, because of course it's important for what I told you before, okay. There are customers that today knows the matter,
Yeah.
okay, know the matter, so it's very important to give them extra information, okay. So we can set up training on related to heat recovery management, for example, okay, or advanced technology, okay, that can be
Yeah. Lots of injectors,
ejector,
parallel compression,
parallel
high gas
compression.
defrost, all this
Okay,
stuff, right?
so we have a fine tune. We have in our laboratory, okay, as well as in the other academy, we have a system in which we can, we can set up the booster with different technologies. So we have the parallel compressor, we can activate it. We have the heat recovery, we have the tap water, we have the air conditioning load. We have different things that according to what the customer will ask, okay, we can set up to really tailor-made the training according to his needs.
That is awesome. I'm gonna come to that. I'm gonna be at one of those trainings for sure at some point. Hopefully this year, and I'm gonna say this year. This year will be the year I'll come out and do a training.
Okay,
So
I'm very happy that if you will join us, okay, in the training.
for
Okay.
sure, this is how I learn. This is how I learn. I invest in myself by working with the best out there, and I'm gonna learn. I got so many trainings that I've done so many trainings. This is how you get better. It's talking to experts with you, and then go into those trainings. And
Yeah.
people tell me like, Trevor, you've been to CO2, you've been to that training before, you'll learn every time, even if it's the same training, you learn something new each time. That's what I
Yeah.
tell so many people. So Thank you
Yeah.
so much for taking the time to hang out with us today. And I look forward to seeing everybody at the next CO2 Mondays. Thanks again, Alessandro.
Thanks a lot to you and to all the attendees, and I wish you a green future, okay, with CO2, and I hope with SCM Frigo as well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
See ya. See you, everyone. Hey, thank you for watching this video. I do hope it is bringing you a lot of value. If you are looking to grow and build your refrigeration teams and want them to learn CO2 refrigeration, head to the refrigerationmentor.com website, click to contact us, and let us know how we can build a culture around training inside your organization. Let's get a conversation going.